Cool. So, hello. This is Pastor Jonathan Yandell, and can you just introduce yourself real quick and
Yeah.
introduce the church?
For sure, yeah. I'm Jonathan. Good to see you. Yeah, Jonathan Yandell, pastor of Summit Church in Lone Grove. My wife and I planted Summit Church in Ardmore, which is just the conjoining town, 7 years ago. And we merged with Lone Grove Assembly of God, which is, we're just 2 miles away. That happened this past year. And so we are still Summit Church, but we joined with the people of Lone Grove Assembly, which is your home church.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So been here in Ardmore. We were youth pastors here at Lone Grove Assembly 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We were here for a little while, and so we love this area. Been here for 7 years, and we're just getting started.
So, of course, as Summit Church starting as a church plant, y'all started in the theaters, correct?
No, we actually started at a conference room owned by a bank.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's where we stayed for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to long story short, we started there thinking we'll be here for a year or two, and then we'll go to the movie theaters, the schools, whatever. Well, COVID hit, 2020, and that kind of messed everything up. So honestly, we just stayed right where we were. It wasn't ideal, but when you're in a small town, you know, you really don't have a lot of options.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what we did.
Now, when I was driving here today, I was thinking about, because I got to go to a couple services there, and having that area where you are setting up, taking down youth service, in some way it kind of reminded me of the early church in the sense of they met together. Did that help with your community, help them not see the church as a building and saw that they are the church?
There's definitely an advantage to it. It comes with its own set of challenges, but there's definitely advantage to it. You don't have years of, well, this is how we've always done it. Mm-hmm. So you're just so free to just keep everything simple. If a kid drops a donut on the ground, you feel like you're at home. It's normal. We were very, very casual intentionally. And we didn't really try to be any other church plant. We did things the way that we believe God wanted us to do things here in our context. And you mentioned just the early church. We ate a lot, and with not having your own building, that can be a challenge. So we did a lot in people's homes for small groups. We did a Wednesday night prayer service every Wednesday night. That was at our house. So it really allowed you to say, we are the church, not we go to church. Mm-hmm. And so, we may get to this later, but I will tell you too, that's fun for a season. Mm-hmm. But after about 50 times of setting up and tearing down, and you walk in on a Sunday morning and somebody else was in that place, and now the chairs are not there, that's its own set of challenges too.
Yeah, which I know y'all had a connection to the bank, so you are able to kind of make that happen. In which I loved being able to go to those services.
It's different, wasn't it?
It was very different, and it was really cool to observe and just be a part of. Now, something that this church has taken on, the merger that's happened. It's a big deal. It's something that isn't done too incredibly often.
No, it's extremely rare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so my question is something that's very hard, especially when two congregations have been together for a while and now they're merging together. Yeah. What are ways that you tried to create, try to unite those congregations to one instead of possibly creating division?
Well, we took our time with it, and that's key. You can't force it. You have to lead with some degree of like, hey, here's where we're going, get on board. But also, you don't want to just leave people behind. And so we talked, to answer your question, we addressed every elephant in the room. We didn't try to just pretend, we're all God's people, let's just get along. We just addressed every elephant in the room, and humor helps. And I just tried to be as authentic as possible from the pulpit and in the lobby, and just getting to know people and just joking like, hey, I've probably asked you your name 20 times, haven't I? We took a whole month and we talked specifically about unity. That was our sermon series, and we talked openly about there's a standard that we're setting for this merger and for our church, that we're not going to play games. We're not going to compare ourselves to the other people. We're one, and may not be maybe a little sloppy theologically, but we just kind of chalked it up to we're practicing for heaven. When we get together one day, we're all going to be a little bit different, but can we worship together? Can our kids grow together? Can we do life together? Absolutely. One thing too is we did a lot of the groundwork before, where we talked with our leadership team and this board leadership team. We talked a lot, and you asked very open questions, and that really helped us too with a smooth transition. You don't want to leave anything out of the equation. Don't assume, they know what I mean when I don't. You got to just get it out front. How are we going to do finances? How are we going to do this? Tell me honestly. Here's what I'm thinking. I want to go around and everybody share with me. For example, the name change was one of those things. And we just very openly, I went around to each person and said, I want you to take time and tell me exactly how you feel, what you think. And when somebody says something regarding a merger, I have questions or I'm a little uneasy, you don't just dismiss them and say, well, you lack faith. Just, I hear you out, and I totally get where you're coming from. That makes a big difference.
So a question that I have, now when you approached the church plant, I'm guessing you had established a vision for that church plant really before it grew, because vision leads to growth. But when approaching the merger, with that vision, do you feel like you had new revelation for what this was going to be, or did you build upon what was there?
Yeah.
And also, kind of with the mission statement, how does the mission statement differ, and what can you kind of?
So we were a toddler church. We were 6 years old, and we knew we were going to need to grow and to change, literally like a toddler. Well, you at one time were 6 years old. You're still you, the same you, but you're not. So you have to grow. You have to be flexible. You have to adapt. You have to look and see where do we need to step up and go from the milk to the meat. But the vision and the culture were not for sale. So the way we approached it was we want to cooperate with Lone Grove, but we have to make sure that our vision and our cultures, that we're not going to compromise on those non-negotiables. And so, as far as like the mission statement, we have quite a long list of things, but our simple, mission, vision, core values, culture traits, ministry traits, those are not for sale. The good thing about Lone Grove is they have incredible people, incredible love for each other, and this is not in any way a slam on previous pastors, but there wasn't as strong an emphasis on the unity and on let's make sure we're on the same page and we can articulate a vision. vision is kind of like a bestseller book idea. Everybody's got one, but nobody writes it down. Right? It's like, you gotta put it down. And so when we say, I should have printed it out for you. It'd been fun to kind of look at, but I'll get it to you. But the first one for our who we are is we are an all generations church, and we want to say that from the get-go. You will see screaming kids in our church. Embrace it. If that's a problem for you, we don't even apologize. Just we need to help you find another church. You're going to see a lot of goldfish spilled on the ground. You know, the food, not the actual fish. But then also is we wanted to make sure that our young people, let's say 20s and 30s adults, that this wasn't just a cool hip church where we have young people. You need spiritual moms and dads.
Yeah, that's right.
There's things in your life that you need to change, and you need somebody who's 50, 60, 70 to point at, to say, dude, I made the same mistake. Let me take you under my wing and teach you, here's how you start a business. Here's how you raise a family. So we want to be an all generations church. And that was just an example that we laid out to make sure that we were on the same page regarding vision, culture, all that. And I would say too, we didn't let style get in the way. Because my personal conviction, you can push back on this if you want, I don't think people really care about style nearly as much as they do the culture. And there's a difference.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So going into, you talked about how we want to be multi-generational.
Yeah.
When I think of that and how elder leaders can kind of help the younger generation just to be able to kind of uncover their eyes in situations with how they what they've learned. How do you approach equipping that generation with kind of being so young? How do you encourage them to kind of take part in that if they are kind of resistant?
Well, that's a good point. Just off the top of my head, we don't cater to them. From everything, like, for example, on our board, we have people 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s. We have one person in their 20s, but they're about to be 30. But that was an intentional thing. So we don't try not to cater to any specific group. What I would say is we do base a lot of our events and outreach and just a lot of our things on people who have kids. That's unapologetic, because you don't have the next generation coming in, you'll leave them behind. The other thing is, this took me some time to figure it out, but when I'm preaching, whether I'm using an illustration or a point, is I try my best to include every age group to where it's applicable to them. So I'll use an example of, say, talking about how a blessing can sometimes bring new difficulties in your life. So like a baby, it's a blessing, but it's going to bring challenges too. So sometimes God opens the door and we say, yes, thank you, Lord, but then it's like, it's going to be a challenge. And I'll use the example of, some of you, those of you who have newborns right now, right now you're probably falling asleep while I'm preaching. That they know I'm connecting to them. But then also, like, I can use examples for grandparents, great grandparents, and I'll say, I said Sunday, something to the effect of, Lord, I was praying, and I said, Lord, I want you to make us hungry for you this week, whether we're at work, at home, driving grandkids, whether we're sitting in a classroom. And I've learned that helps everybody know that they're welcome and that they're seen. I may have veered off from your question, but
that approaches it really well.
I think we want everybody to know that they're seen and valued in our church. Yeah.
So kind of what you veered off, but I'm gonna kind of zero down on it. how do you approach equipping the saints to be able to reach out and not just bring in for you to reach?
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as the actual equipping, it starts with letting them know that that's an expectation. That this ain't the Jonathan show. It's not the Jonathan and Dakota show. It's not even the Jonathan and the board show. If you're here, we are a family, and family helps each other out. We do things together. And so if you go here and this is your home church, you're not a spectator. You're on the field. Suit up, right?
Yes, sir.
Get your helmet and pads on. Let's go. And nobody will be your a bigger encourager to you, but also, I mean, there's something that you can contribute. So we need to identify a spiritual gift and even very practical gifts in people. That's the biggest thing that I can do to equip people is say, hey, you may not be on the stage singing, but I find out that you do stuff with the tech world. Great. There's a place I need some help with some social media stuff, or somebody who's in the business world. Can I meet with you every month, every other month, and go over some strategies? Yeah, So the best thing you can do is just identify the gifts in people, and you got to let people make decisions too that you may not make yourself. And I think that scares a lot of pastors and a lot of churches. When somebody comes and says, "Hey, I want to go and I'm trying to think of an example. I want to do this ministry. I want to start this thing," and you got to avoid I got to control that. You can't, and you're not supposed to. Now, you've got to be careful of loose cannons. That God called me to go to the bar and pass out beers to everybody and hand them a card, like, in the name of Jesus. Well, okay, there are guidelines that we do have to protect, but those are extreme examples. I think more often than not, we hinder people from going to the next level because the pastors just do it all. And or they feel like, well, I might not be perfect at it, so I gotta wait till I'm ready. If you wait till you're ready, you're never ready. One of the best ways to get good at something is to do it by learning and failing, and saying, well, yeah, I mean, that was a C+ day, not my best work, but whether you're talking about preaching or doing prison ministry or outreach or fellowship groups or a sports league or whatever, it's our duty to point out those people's gifts and say, now I'm going to offer 3 things I can do to help you get started. I'll be right behind you, but kind of nudge them, get out there and do it.
So with what you were talking about, as in how people kind of approach situations and how we're more to hopefully be sponsors of them, not controllers.
Sure.
And I think there's a false view, sadly, that's crept into some churches and some leaders of how the congregants look at their pastor, as in some sadly see it as their savior, who they're following, as in their leader. And how do you, of course, this word is thrown out in any ministry, is servant leadership. But how do you show your servanthood to be able to show your humility and showing them how you're just like them, you're a person just like them, and how do you incorporate that in every service so that they understand that we're here for Him, not for...
Yeah, and I think the most accessible thing you can do is let's just take a Sunday example. If I see a mom carrying in her baby, it's just like, get out the door and help. Open the door for people. Just little things I can do just to let them know, and it clicks, even on a very fundamental level. How can I help you? Can I get you a coffee? You like coffee? You drink coffee? You want to, hey, let me get it for you. Again, I'm using the Sunday scenario. But the worst thing that I think a leader can do is, well, the most important thing I do is preaching. So I'm going to go sit in my office and just pour over my sermon while everybody's doing stuff. It's not that that's bad, but I think that you're missing a golden opportunity to show that I'm a servant. And not in a fake way, but if it's Sunday, there's people around, and they're like, "Hey, I need to move this or whatever." Jump in, help out. Let people see that you're willing to do stuff. I think that everybody's a little bit different, but to almost everybody, there's a way that you can gain their trust. And if you can also misearn, you can gain their distrust, I should say. But whatever you can do just to gain trust quickly, just go so far in saying like, well, that they're not just the boss or a manager; they're a servant leader. There's a fine line with that too, of saying, well, I'm performing for everybody. They got to see how awesome a servant leader I am. Authenticity comes into play here and says, I'm nobody's punching bag. If somebody comes in and feels like they feel like complaining to me or griping, I'm just like, well, I guess I'm supposed to be a servant leader. That's not servant leadership. That's just being a punching bag for somebody. So there's a fine line there, but I think that there are ways that you can gain people's trust and let them see in you, man, they're willing to help me jump my car on a Sunday because my battery's dead. Not as soon as the service was over, the pastor was out the door and out to eat while everybody else is stuck there. They might not remember the sermon, but they'll remember, he helped me jump my car.
No, that's one of my professors. He talked about that immensely. He's like, they're probably, especially with youth, they're barely ever going to remember what you say, but they're going to definitely remember what you do.
Sure.
In which that's a very great thing, in which something that can be a problem, which I think dives into the humility and pride issue sometimes, is pastors' desire to in control. They're called to so many things, and they think, well, that's just a little thing, I can do it, I can get it done. How do you practice just delegation tactics to where I can't do that right now because I've got so many other responsibilities, but I want to ensure that that's taken care of? How do you walk that process?
I will tell you, I may not be the best at answering this because it comes naturally to me. I don't have a problem handing something off and saying, hey, man, would you do this? Example, when Dakota was a former student of mine when I was a youth pastor. He's been with us for 5 years, which is rare for an associate pastor to be with me for 5 years. One of the things that we did early was, again, I'm not trying to make this sound like I'm bragging, but I told him, I want you to preach once a month. That was hard because as a church planter, we have one service gathering a month. We did a prayer service, but it was at our house. We did one church service a week. And for me to give up, 12 of those a year, not including the missionaries or the special events, was actually hard because it's me delegating, saying, no, I've got to let you, you've got to learn how to preach sometime. And so that was hard. And I will tell you that some people pushed back against that, but I stuck to my guns on that, and it's the greatest thing I've ever done. This week we had we're scheduling summer of 26, and there was a decision made about a certain event, a VBS. It's not exactly how I would have done it, but you have to trust your staff and your team. And when the decision's made, I don't view it as, well, that's their decision, not mine. No, it's ours.
Yeah.
And so I've got their backs,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta trust people to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So delegation is not just this week I don't feel like doing this, I'll throw it on somebody. No, that's not delegation. Delegation is a form of really it's encouragement of saying you have a gift in this, you can help me with this. Let me hand it off. Let me tell you something else about delegation. My dad is a pastor, and so he trusted me to help him with stuff. And looking back, that's why I said it just comes naturally. Looking back, I realized how rare that was. But just in a church world, that you just, I mean, I don't know, can you help me do this? Run this event or do this thing, and let them run with it. And I will tell you too, we've created a culture now where when I do something that wasn't stellar, I can laugh at it. And that when everybody else sees that I can laugh at myself and that I'm not perfect, we tend to work better as a team. It's kind of like a basketball team, passing the ball to somebody else is easy when you're not making any shots. Like I'll just give the ball to somebody else. When delegating is hard is whenever you're actually doing really well. And that's the thing too, is like, oh man, I'm doing really good in this area. I'll keep it. That's actually when you need to say, I'm doing, not in a bragging way, but a confidence way. I'm doing really good in this sphere. Therefore, let me train somebody. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's really good. Something that you mentioned when answering that question, and it's a very hard aspect, especially being the head pastor, is how do you approach the idea of the decisions that, of course, like kind of, I don't want to go back to that, but a decision someone might make under your leadership, remembering that it does fall back on you. How do you help remind yourself that that does fall back on you? So I guess, how do you toe the line between wanting to make
how
sure
do you
that
give
idea
something
is
away?
good? Yeah.
But and then accept that it might not go. That's a great question. Everybody's probably going to be a little bit different that you want to pour into. Some people are primed and ready to delegate stuff to. Other people, you see a little glimmer of, I think they could be something. Well, you don't start off by saying, okay, preach on a Sunday morning. You bring them into, hey, I'm prepping my Christmas series right now. Why don't you come up, let's have lunch and tell me what you think about my sermon outline. Just start with little wins, little victories. And you have to crawl before you can run. And so with delegating and equipping people, sometimes it's a very simple thing that you're like, hey, this week, this month, could you help me with something, and just let them do it. And then you see, like, they did it. That earned some trust for me, but also let them have some confidence as well. And that goes a long way. If little wins over the course of a year, 2 years, and discipling people, those people are probably ready to go and be a senior pastor somewhere. Seriously. It ain't rocket science. We complicate this so much. You don't want to hand a new believer and say, cool, you're our new secretary treasurer, or you've been saved for 2 weeks, cool, go be a missionary. You need training, you need education, you need to take some Bible college, whether it's formal education or just you need to be trained, mentor, whatever. But you can spot that potential in people. I will tell you too, you have to be at peace with people letting you down. not take it personal. Something I poured into a young man, wasn't much younger than me, but I poured into a young man. I saw so much potential, and it never reached it, and frustratingly so. Like, are you sabotaging this? And then while you never quote cancel that relationship, you do have to realize I can't keep pouring into somebody who's not receptive, and that's okay. You have to be at peace with that. Don't take it personal. Just realize that not everybody's going to thrive and bear fruit like you could see. I'll tell you a frustrating thing in ministry is you see potential in everybody. Everybody has potential somewhere. You're like, oh, I can see you going to the next level. And the thing you have to be careful of is I've got to set the standard where people can do the same for a pastor and say, oh, that pastor, he could go here. Like, if I'm not willing to go to the next level, why should I expect everybody else to?
That's really good. That's really good. Now, something that you discussed earlier, you were a youth pastor here at one time. And just this personal question for me, and not about that circumstance, but when you feel like your time is up, we talk about revelatory lid, as in like we talk about it's just in one of the books we read. We kind of discuss it in the class, but leaders they have this revelatory lid where this kind of like they kind of top out in a ministry, and some say that's when it's time to move on. What would you say, like, this is the feeling, how do you receive that feeling, like, God's calling me to a new area, a new place? What does that feel like, and how do you approach that situation? Because I know that's a hard thing to do, especially if you build up something.
Yeah, it's a great question, and first of all, I think you can take the pressure off and realize that not everybody follows the same path. That's okay. You're gonna find people who say, I was a youth pastor at a church for 12 years, and the senior pastor resigned, and now I'm the senior pastor, and I stayed there for my whole life. That's awesome. Other people are like, man, I was in Ohio and Mississippi, and then I went and did this nonprofit work for a while, and now I'm in Oklahoma, and I think God's calling me to North Texas, all before the age of 40. So there's, I think that it's okay just to realize the pressure's off. You may not be this person, you might be more like this, or somewhere in between, okay? For me personally, I will tell you, I have no regrets about what I did. I would say that I probably should have stuck it out more than I did.
I got you.
So I had the tendency of, if I felt a stirring, God was leading me to go do a different situation, I kind of took my eyes off of what I was doing then and got so focused on now, I tried to rush God.
I got you.
As a youth pastor, I think it's really easy to do because, well, if we leave, the senior pastor still, everything's going to stay intact.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like, I'm not down in youth pastors, but if I go, somebody else will come in and hang out with these kids.
It's a 2-year turnaround, sadly. It's
And I fell into that a little bit. I would encourage people, stay longer than you think you should, but that's a general principle, not a dogma. Stay longer than you think you should, because I think stability is more important than flexibility for our generation. I think that we have spiritual ADD, and it's just because something else can be done, we think, well, cool, I'll just go do it. And I would just say, by and large, in a situation, it's better to stick it out and to be around and to learn in your 20s and early 30s, learn how to do ministry in different seasons.
Gotcha.
And seasons, there's seasons where it's not just a 1-month season, but it can be a 2-year season of incredible growth, or man, we're struggling, we're losing people. It's good to stick it out by and large. The only thing I would say there is, well, it does happen where people go to a church, they get in it, and they realize, wow, this is toxic. Don't stick that out. Life is too short for you to be in a situation where you're like, I did not see this coming, the pastor is cussing me out, or I don't need to go into any scenarios, but you're just like, this is, there's an objectively moral bad situation going on. And I think there's this thought of like, well, if I leave, what's my parents going to think? It was like, if it's you know it's not good, you need to get out, and that's okay. So some people do, man. Some people go into a situation and say, I'm going to be here for 3 years. I think that can be helpful. We play the Holy Spirit card, and well, just wherever the Spirit leads me, and you can find precedence in Paul, in the book of Acts. I mean, the guy did something and left. That's okay. But I would just say, wherever you fall on the spectrum of like, I'm moving to the panhandle of Oklahoma to this church, and it's okay in the back of your mind to tell yourself, your spouse, even others, I'm going to be here for 2 years. No matter what. And that's okay. And I think that just gives you like, cool, I'm not going to start looking at other jobs in 6 weeks. You see what I'm saying? I also think that some people are like this, they're just extremely, how do I say it? They're hyper Pentecostal, where it's like, everything's a sign. Everything is God's leading me. And it could be this, that you had a bad burrito and you dreamed that you were in a church in California, and you wake up the next day and you tell your church, God's called me to California. Okay, but if you want to do that, just the only thing I would say, if you're going to live like that, and you're going to choose your ministry just kind of like, I'm just a goer, I'm a free spirit, the best thing I can say is you need to have good accountability partners that can speak into your life that way. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So don't just make a decision based off of, well, I told myself I was going to be here for 5 years. Okay, you're not a tree, you can move. But the other side of that is, don't say, well, I was at a district event and somebody got up and said, we need church planners and this, and so therefore I knew that was me. You need to run it by people. You need counsel. You need accountability. You need coaches and people that can help you sift, is this God or is it me?
You need affirmation from spiritual leaders in your life.
For sure. I talked to 3 presbyters before we merged here. Now, I knew it would work personally, but I still talked to 3 presbyters in our state and got their opinion, got information. How would you do it? Why not? Why not get? Yeah.
There's no issue with it. So
no.
But kind of rounding up our interview, because I don't want to take all of your time today, but something that is very important in leaders' lives, especially pastors' lives, that sadly has been a problem with how busy you are. And this is, I bet, you deal with this question every day. How do you balance ministry with family life, with your life? How do you have a healthy balance?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say that's probably, if there's one skill that you should have as a minister, that's the one skill. A couple of things. I had the advantage of growing up in a pastor's home, of a grandpastor. My grandpa was a pastor. Great grandpa was a pastor. you know, my lineage goes all the way back to the Assemblies of God at the founding. So I've seen the good and the bad, and I've learned a lot. I'm going to share with you a document. I know it's not pertinent to this interview, but I'll share with you a document that we have about. I take my time off, and I never feel guilty for doing so. You know, the best thing I can give our church is a healthy me. Not a, let me get up in front of everybody and tell them how tired I am from working so hard. That, you know, they need me refreshed and rested and happy. And when I'm rested and they know that I'm there with my family and taking care of them, our family is doing stuff, that sends the message to them that I'm more than a pastor. Not less than, you still have a job, but I'm more than that. Your question's a great one. I don't like the word balance, because that makes it sound like it's fragile and that it's delicate. I like the word boundaries better.
That's good.
Because if I say work-life balance, I always feel like what's that where you
like
the rope? What's it called?
Definitely.
I'm drawing a blank. What's it called?
I have no.
It's like it's this like my kids never have to see me frustrated. Like they're gonna see Dad. You know, like today was a hard day at work, and vice versa. I mean, my church will you know, will see me when I'm, you know,
it shows you're human. It shows you're human.
And the idea of it's a helpful word, but it's a limited word. Balance. I think that get real good at boundaries. You know, cell phone, like it's on do not disturb right now. There's all those little things that you can do just to set healthy boundaries. And never apologize for setting those healthy boundaries. You know, whether it's a college professor or a pastor or a banker, you've got to be able to turn that switch off and say, I'm not working right now. I'm doing whatever it is. And so most people follow me on this, okay? Most people follow one of two extremes. Some people are workaholics. It's harder for them to stop because they feel needed. They get so much satisfaction out of being a producer and let me share with you this thing I've been learning. And most people follow that you need to say time out. You need a hobby that doesn't involve any of that stuff. Like, go play. You need to pick up golf. You need to pick up, you know, woodworking. You need to do something. If you're a thinker, like 90% of what we do is a laptop and thinking. You need something like running or biking or fishing where it's like I'm just bing the cat. That's it. You need something, and I believe that's actually holy, where God can probably pour into you more in that, climbing or rock climbing or whatever. He'll probably do more soul care work on you there than the other. The other people are, you can't get them to work. It's like they're so distracted. I wouldn't necessarily say they're lazy, but they're kind of dreamers more. Those are the people that are like, you need a lot. The boundary here is you do need to see work as a 9 to 5 thing. You do need to get up and do this, call these people every week. You need more structure. So some people err on the side of, if I don't have structure, I'm not happy. Well, you need to just go for a walk and see where the road leads. The other people are like, I don't like structure, it's too limiting. they probably need a little bit more. So be honest about which one you are. If you find yourself being like, I go to bed thinking about students. We got to work through that. If you're the type of person that's like, oh man, I keep forgetting, oh, that person had a ball game today, and I'm playing video games. Well, we need to, so set your boundaries, and I will tell you one more thing, that takes time for most people. Take a Sabbath. Take a Sabbath, and not legalistically, but just take a Sabbath once a week, once a quarter, and then once a year. Take a Sabbath. And even as a youth pastor, sometimes you're the quote low man on the totem pole, and stuff will just fall to you. But I think it's good for you to set the standard. Say, hey, I'm gonna set my phone on the dining table, and me and my wife, we're gonna go to the park, or we're gonna go to this museum, or we're gonna go to the movie, and leave it there. And if somebody says, man, I've been trying to get a hold of you, that's okay. That's a boundary there. So you can do those, you can set those little things. I think that your kids one day, your friends, everybody will respect you for being able to say, like, I'm not a machine. We're just not. If I'm gonna care for people and serve them, I've got to be well.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, dude.
Which I kind of setting the boundary because I could listen all day, but thank you so much. But thank you, Pastor Yandell.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's fun.
Oh my goodness. I'll have to cut that part of the video off.